Hello everyone and welcome to Electrical Engineering and Control Theory tutorials. In this tutorial we explain how to derive a transfer function of the resistor, inductor, capacitor circuit by using the impedance approach. So let's immediately start. Here is the problem formulation. Consider the circuit shown over here. The circuit consists of the capacitor with the capacitance of C, inductor with the inductance of L, and the resistor with the resistance of R. Let Vi of t be the input voltage to this circuit and let Vo of t be the output voltage. Our goal is to derive the transfer function of this circuit from the input voltage Vi of t to the output voltage Vo of t. For that purpose, we will be using the impedance approach. To solve this problem, we first need to briefly revise the basic concept of a transfer function. For that purpose, we need to introduce Laplace transforms. Let the Laplace transform of the input voltage be denoted like this, capital Vi of S, where S is the complex Laplace variable, and this is equal to Laplace transform operator, which is denoted by calligraphic L, of the time domain signal Vi of t. And here is one very important thing to keep in mind. We are using lowercase letters to denote the signals in the time domain. On the other hand, we are using capital letters to denote the signals in the Laplace domain. The Laplace transform of the output voltage is denoted as capital Vo of S, and it's equal to Laplace transform operator of the time domain signal Vo of t. Now we are ready to define the transfer function of this circuit. The transfer function of this circuit, denoted by W of S, is a ratio of the Laplace transform of the output voltage and the Laplace transform of the input voltage. That is Vo of S over Vi of S. And here's one very important note. This Laplace transform is derived and computed under the assumption that all the initial conditions are equal to zero. That is, that the initial voltage through the terminals of the capacitor is zero and that the initial current in the inductor is also equal to zero. That is, we are completely neglecting or setting to zero the initial conditions. There are at least two approaches to solve this problem. The first approach is to write a differential equation representing the dynamics of this circuit and then to apply the Laplace transform to that differential equation in order to derive our transfer function. The second approach that we will follow in this video tutorial is to do something completely different. Instead of writing differential equation, we can replace every electric component in this circuit by its equivalent impedance, and then we can use a basic Ohm's law in the complex S domain in order to derive differential equation. The advantage of this second approach is that we don't need to write a differential equation and we just need to manipulate the algebraic equation in order to derive the transfer function. Okay, let's start. The first step is to replace every electric component by its equivalent impedance. In that way, we can replace the inductor with the impedance Z1 of S. Then we can replace the resistor by its equivalent impedance Z2 of S, and we are replacing this capacitor by its impedance Z3 of S. As the result, we obtain this circuit in the complex S domain. And let's write down the impedances. For the inductor, we have that Z1 of S is equal to S multiplying L. For the resistance, we have that Z2 of S is simply equal to R. And finally, for our capacitor, we have that Z3 of S is equal to 1 over S multiplying C. And that's it. For those of you who are not 100% sure how these expressions are derived, you can go to our YouTube page and you can watch the corresponding video tutorial. For the time being, the most important thing is to keep in mind the following. Z1 of S is SL, Z2 of S is R, and Z3 of S is 1 over SC. To solve this problem, let's first denote the current through this circuit. I will denote the current as I of S. Note over here that all the variables are in the complex S domain. Next, observe this point A. The potential of this point is VA of S. By using the Ohm's law in the complex S domain, we can write the following. VI minus VA over the impedance Z1 is equal to, let's see, we can write VA minus VO over Z2. So we can write VA minus VO over Z2. Note over here that for simplicity, I have dropped the subscript S, since it is understood that all the variables depend on the complex S variable. Next, let's multiply this equation by the product of Z1 and Z2. As the result, on the left-hand side, we will obtain VI minus VA, and this is multiplied by Z2. And on the right-hand side, we will obtain VA minus VO multiplied by Z1. Next, let's move everything that contains VA from the left-hand side to the right-hand side, and let's from the right-hand side move everything that contains VO to the left-hand side. As the result, we will obtain the following equation. On the right-hand side, we will have VA multiplying Z1 plus Z2, and on the left-hand side, we will simply obtain Z2 multiplying VI plus Z1 multiplying VO. Next, from this equation, we can express VA like this. VA is equal to Z2 over Z1 plus Z2 multiplying VI, then we will have plus, then we will have Z1 over Z1 plus Z2 multiplying VO. In this way, we were able to express the potential of this point A as the sum of the potential VI and VO. Next, let's focus on this part over here and on this part. By using the Ohm's law, we can write VO over Z3 is equal to VA minus VO over Z2. VA minus VO over Z2. From this equation, we need to express VA, and then we can substitute the expressed form of VA inside of this equation. So let's do that. If we multiply this equation by the product of Z2 and Z3, we will obtain the following. On the left-hand side, we will have V0 multiplying Z2, and on the right-hand side, we will have VA minus VO multiplying Z3. Next, let's group the terms together. On the left-hand side, we will have VO multiplying Z2 plus Z3 from the right-hand side, and on the right-hand side, we will simply have VA multiplying Z3. From this equation, we obtain that VA is Z2 plus Z3 over Z3. And this multiplies VO. And that's it. So we need to use this equation over here and this equation over here to compute our transfer function. Here for clarity, I've wrote the two derived equations once again. Here's the first one and here's the second one. Next, if we combine these two equations, we obtain this equation. Next, let's derive the transfer function from this equation. To do that, we need to express VO over VI from this equation. The first step is to multiply both the left-hand side and the right-hand side by Z3 multiplying Z1 plus Z2. And let's see the result. First of all, let's see what happens over here. Over here, we will simply obtain VI Z2 multiplying Z3. Then over here we will obtain Z1 multiplying Z3 multiplying VO, and on the right hand side we will have Z2 plus Z3 multiplying Z1 plus Z2 and everything multiplying VO. Let us further massage this equation. Left hand side for the time being will stay as it is. That is, we will have these two terms. Then let me write them down nicely. And let's start multiplying everything on the right hand side. So we will have Z2 multiplying Z1 multiplying VO. Then we will have plus Z2 multiplying Z2, which gives us Z2 squared, multiplying VO. Then we will have Z3 multiplying Z1 multiplying VO. Then we will have Z3 multiplying Z2, then multiplying VO. Let's try to modify this equation and to see how to simplify it. First of all, let's notice this term Z1, Z3, VO on the left-hand side, and let's find the equivalent term on the right-hand side. Here it is, Z3, Z1, VO, and we can simply cancel these two terms. Next, we can observe that in the cancelled or transformed equation, we have everywhere Z2, that is, we have Z2 here, Z2 here, Z2 here, and Z2 here. Consequently, let's now multiply this by 1 over Z2. And then we obtain VI multiplying Z3, that's left on the left-hand side, and let's see what's happening on the right-hand side. We have Z1 multiplying VO, then we have Z2 multiplying VO, then we will have here plus Z3 multiplying VO. Let's now further write this equation. On the right hand side we will have Z1 plus Z2 plus Z3 multiplying VO. And as the result we will obtain the following. We will obtain VO over VI is equal to simply Z3 over Z1 plus Z2 plus Z3. And this is our final expression for the transfer function. You can see how elegantly we were able to derive this expression. Namely, this expression only depends on the impedances. And we used basic algebraic multiplications, subtraction and additions to derive this equation. Over here for clarity, I've wrote the final expression once again, and over here you can see the impedance of the inductor, the impedance of the resistor, and the impedance of the capacitor. The next step is to substitute these values inside of our transfer function. As the result, we obtain the following expression. We can write VO of S over VI of S, and on the right hand side we can write the following. In the numerator, instead of Z3, we can write 1 over SC. In the denominator, instead of Z1, we can write LS, instead of Z2, we can write R, and instead of Z3, we can write 1 over SC. Next, let's further simplify the expression on the right-hand side. For the time being, let's leave the numerator as it is, and in the denominator we can write the following. We can group the terms together, and over here we will have LC multiplying S squared, then we will have RC multiplying S, and then we will have plus 1. Now we can actually cancel this term and this term, and as the result we obtain the following. We obtain the final expression for our transfer function, which reads as following. We have 1 over LCS squared plus RCS plus 1. And this is our final transfer function. You can see how nicely this transfer function depends on the capacitance, inductance, and resistance.